The U.S. market to us is a bellwether. Absolutely critical that everything we do, we have to do it right here in North America, because what happens here impacts the rest of the world.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello everyone, this is Randy Goers and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 233. What was the news out of DJI's AirWorks conference? That's this week's topic as I traveled to Los Angeles to attend AirWorks 2019. This podcast is part of a series on the conference with comments and presentations from key DJI representatives and partners. You'll get insights into the overall state of the drone industry, the current challenges, efforts to promote safety and security, and new product announcements. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, you'll hear from Adam Lisberg, DJI's Corporate Communications Director, and Brendan Schulman, Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs. I hope you'll find the information helpful and informative. And just so you know, all of the stats that I cite come from the conference presentations. So let's get started. We all know that DJI is the largest commercial and civilian aerial drone manufacturer in the world. But did you know that the company has about 14,000 employees spread out across the globe? Now, the vast majority are based in Shenzhen, China. In the US, DJI has about 150 employees spread out across locations in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Cerritos, Washington, D.C., New York, and Texas. The company estimates its products support about 100,000 jobs, mostly in the software developer platform. The FAA estimates that there are about 122,000 registered Part 107 pilots. So collectively, there is growth in the ecosystem and the industry, and the future for the company looks good. According to Adam Lisberg, DJI's Corporate Communications Director, there are opportunities for DJI to continue to build and deliver on what end users are looking for.
We're focused on four key elements, which is safe flying, reliable flying, as well as secure flying, and then lastly, accessibility, really making the products accessible to as many users as we can in each of the markets that we're operating. We're seeing the ecosystem driving new solutions, really deploying services and solutions that the end users are looking for. What that's also doing is, as the ecosystem is looking at new solutions that they're bringing to market, that's appealing to new enterprises, new end users who are looking to figure out how to leverage the drone technology, how to add more value, reduce their costs, at the same time protect people's lives that are doing critical mission work using the drone platform. So combined, the value proposition for the drone technology is very strong, and it continues to expand as new enterprises, new commercial entities start to realize how they can apply the drone technology and then how to customize further services and products to the work that they're doing.
While the company sells drones globally, it recognizes the importance of the U.S. market.
Look, the U.S. market to us is a bellwether. Absolutely critical that everything we do, we have to do it right here in North America, because what happens here impacts the rest of the world.
To put things in perspective, in 2018, the FAA estimated that by 2021, there would be about 400,000 registered drone users. That number has already been eclipsed, and the FAA now forecasts that by 2022, there will be close to 800,000 registered users.
It shows that the industry continues to grow. The use of the product continues to grow. And it's a validation for us that we need to be even more creative than what we have been in the past and bring more product to market, bring more solutions to the marketplace, because there's demand for it.
DJI started in the consumer hobbyist market, then rapidly gained share in the commercial market. And over the past year, they've made great strides into the enterprise space. Just in the last year, the company reports that their business in the enterprise sector globally, and also here in the United States, has grown 80%. The company also reports that government agencies are using and leveraging the product at a much higher rate than anticipated. Here in the U.S., The Department of Interior is one of DJI's key partners.
We've developed and customized a solution that they've tested independently that makes sure that it meets their security requirements, meets their mission requirements as they continue to deploy the product in the field. And by far, the Department of Interior is the largest user of drone fleets in all of North America. And in fact, they also say they believe they have the largest fleet in the world at over 500 drones in their portfolio. And they're looking to grow that 2, 3, 4x in the next 2 to 3 years. Another indicator to us that the ecosystem, the sector continues to grow. Then what we're also starting to see is state and local governments here in the U.S. adopting the platform, finding ways to leverage the technology and the platform. The North Carolina Department of Transportation has found very creative ways to deploy drone technology and what they do day in and day out with respect to highway safety, highway inspections, and of course, over the past 2 years, the drone technology has been a significant platform of how they prepare for hurricanes, how they react during the hurricane using the technology, as well as deploying the technology after the hurricane passes and really helping them rebuild in rapid fashion. Very significant efforts that are taking place. And then the third area of government organizations scaling up is public safety, first responders.
Despite the positive growth and dominant position in the marketplace, DJI admits it is facing some headwinds from a geopolitical, security, and safety perspective.
There are some challenges that we're facing from a geopolitical perspective. It's impacting the growth of the industry as a whole. It's impacting how we're growing as a company. But at the same time, we also have to face these challenges head on. We have to embrace the issues. We have to be more proactive in explaining what the product does or doesn't do. And at the end, having a more collaborative discussion with our policymakers, our regulators, will help address some of the headwinds that we're seeing, in particular in Washington, over the geopolitical trade issues, over the use of the product from a security perspective. So I just wanted to leave that with you, that we do see these challenges. We're prepared for them. We're addressing them head on. But more importantly, we're fully engaged in having the discussion with policymakers, regulators on these issues. But it's also going to take a more collaborative effort with the rest of industry to address this. It's not a DJI issue. They're trying to make it a one company issue. It's not. It's really an industry issue that needs to take place, a discussion that needs to take place, and the solution and path forwards have to be designed and mapped out from a collaborative effort across the industry, working with regulators, working with policymakers. We all have a role to play.
As Adam pointed out, safety is a major concern. And during AirWorks, there was a concerted effort to highlight what has been accomplished to improve safety to date, as well as identifying what else could be done. Brendan Schulman, Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs at DJI, walked us through the company's safety efforts. According to Schulman, this really started with geofencing, which has been in effect for a number of years. Within the last year, however, DJI upgraded its geofencing to better reflect the aircraft approach zones at airports, thus providing a much smarter way to protect air operations, while at the same time allowing for authorized commercial operations. The company accelerated their unlocking process down to less than 30 minutes, and in many cases, it's less than 5. And qualified public safety agencies can essentially permanently unlock their entire jurisdiction. DJI also employs altitude limitations, return-to-home obstacle sensing, and a knowledge quiz, all designed to support the user and make flying safer. And of course, there's DJI's Aeroscope Remote ID solution, which is now about 2 years old. With Aeroscope, public safety and security agencies, airports, critical facility managers, and the like have remote ID capabilities, dramatically elevating their safety, security, and accountability levels. In addition, DJI recently announced in May that every drone made next year above 250 grams will be equipped with their AirSense ADSP feature. ADSP listens for approaching air traffic and shows you the location of other aircraft. So if there's a helicopter or an airplane coming towards your drone, you can move out of the way. DJI believes ADSP is going to be a substantial improvement in safety going forward. The company estimates they have invested at least 30,000 man-hours developing this feature since 2017. Now, despite the improvements in safety, the industry still falls victim to negative stories, which cloud public perception. And when you have a public that hasn't accepted drones, or is worried about them, or believes they're crashing into airlines or doing some other nefarious things, as Schulman points out, you invite a response by the policymakers.
The elected officials will say, we need to do something. We need policies that restrict and limit drone use, or impose higher burdens and costs on using a drone to sort of keep the ecosystem more focused on certain operations and not others. And it's not just the sort of headlines out there.
Pointing to a Lego police drone chase kit, Schulman continues.
This is a Lego set showing a drone stealing a statue from a town square and a police helicopter chasing it and firing a net while the police arrest the perpetrator flying the drone who's already wearing prison garb. Worse yet, the statue is a firefighter's memorial. Here's Lego's version of what drones are doing with firefighting. They're stealing the memorial statue from the town square. This is a huge problem, right? To me, this means public perception. Lego thinks kids should know that drones are stealing statues rather than helping firefighters rescue lives and protect property. And if the public perception keeps moving in this direction, we're all going to have a problem. These wonderful applications that we hear about are going to be put at risk because the policies will come in to limit and restrict how drones are used. And that means stories like this will be less and less common. We already know that drones are saving lives, rescuing people from peril. We have a running tally, as I hope you know by now. We've had this running a couple years already. We are now up to 278 people who've been rescued from peril, including fires, floods, missing people with dementia who wander away.
So what is DJI doing to address this?
The past 4 years, as long as I've been at DJI, we've been educating policymakers so that we can advocate for policy solutions that make sense, that address real risks, real problems. Remote ID is a great example of this. Provide accountability, provide an enforcement mechanism so that rules that make sense can then be enforced against people who intentionally break them. We're working on the Drone Advisory Committee, of which I'm a member. One of their initiatives, the task is to accelerate remote ID by finding ways to voluntarily implement it. So we've done it, we call it Aeroscope, but we're not enough. We need the whole industry to have remote ID, so we're not the only people actually coming up with solutions. So the Drone Advisory Committee in mid-October will have a paper that we present to the FAA that will suggest how remote ID can be established industry-wide and incentives that we can create, really the FAA can create, and perhaps other government officials, to encourage people to adopt voluntary remote ID before they have to. We're also working with the UAS safety team on other safety enhancements, including a standardized form for reporting drone sightings, so that all those reports that you hear about can actually be useful and have some information that might be actionable. We also have put out this Elevating Safety paper. It sets out a number of things, 10 things that both we and others can do to help address and get ahead of these safety concerns and security concerns. Remote ID is obviously one of them, knowledge testing, enforcement, geofencing. Some of the things we've done, some of the things other people ought to do, we feel, to help address these concerns and be proactive. Do it before the government comes up with a policy that is more constraining than necessary.
Over the last couple of years, there have been articles saying that drones are responsible for near collisions with aircraft, interfering with airport operations, and so forth. DJI reviewed the data sources for all reported incidents. Their conclusions?
In each case, none of the information was reliable or useful for us to understand what we could do next on safety. In fact, in some cases, like the AirWorks board, they will say this really is not useful information because all we can do is take a pilot report and publish it and turn it around as if it's completely true. There's no real fact-finding. So we have a problem there in terms of not being able to find meaningful data to inform more safety features that we and others can develop. And in addition to the sightings, the absence of sightings data that's useful, we have collisions, which turn out not to be real.
The problem with inaccurate data was highlighted by Alan Levin, an aviation reporter with Bloomberg. He reported on the Aeromexico crash that was alleged to have hit a drone upon landing in Tijuana. The story received about 100,000 hits on the website.
Turns out the report was wrong. It wasn't a drone impact, it was a collapse of the radar. It's something we've seen before in Tanzania. And Alan noted that the correction, the truth, got 1/1000th the amount of traffic as the original story about the drone collision. Obviously, this is damaging the industry and the reputation of drones, and that will lead the policymakers to do things that might be restrictive and harmful to the industry. So we really need to be careful with those initial reports because of the amplification effect and the fact that the correction that happens months later gets 1/1000th of the attention as the initial report.
DJI doesn't deny safety or other risks with drones. Out of all the reported drone incidents, there were 2 verifiable near misses and 2 actual collisions with helicopters.
For us, that meant we could do something with this. What were we seeing? We were seeing people unaware of low altitude traffic, and that was causing the collision risk. So that's what led us to commit in May to our ADS-B feature deployed across all drones, not just the professional ones. Because we felt, gee, now we've got good, reliable data, or at least a few data points. It's just 4 data points, but it's more than you can draw out of that sightings database work around the world. And that's what led us to, again, the ADS-B solution, so that our drone users can see, can hear about, see on the map, and receive alerts about approaching air traffic. So just to reiterate our mission, we really are on a mission to proactively address the concerns of government. Many of these concerns are true and real, and where they're real, we don't shy away from them. We confront them head on, and we want to be the leader. We have been the leader on safety to addressing those concerns. And where we can, we want to develop the technology solutions. Right? You don't necessarily need a rule or a limitation in either statute or regulation if you can come up with a technology-based solution to the concern and help address that risk and bring it down.
In the opening keynote, DJI executives announced new updates to enhance the everyday application of drone technology, including a P4 multispectral drone built to power farming's next generation and enable more efficient environmental land management. The Agris T16 spray drone for agricultural applications that makes it easy to precisely apply liquids like fertilizers and pesticides to field crops and orchards. And DJI's Disaster Relief Program, a new initiative to rapidly equip first responders with DJI drone technology and support during natural disaster response. In addition, FLIR Systems introduced the industry's first multi-gas detector that will transform how emergency response teams approach chemical, industrial, and environmental incidents. Microsoft demonstrated how organizations can use their technologies to streamline secure deployment of DJI drone fleets. Corteva Agriscience and Drone Deploy shared their experiences of scaling and managing a fleet of nearly 500 drones, one of the largest deployments of drones within the agricultural industry worldwide. The Los Angeles Fire Department, one of the nation's preeminent public safety agencies, showcased how it is using drone technology as an emergency response and preparedness tool across a variety of situations. And American Petroleum Institute and Marathon Petroleum revealed their efforts to define best practices and shared learnings for the use of drone technology within the oil and gas industry. That's it for episode 233 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Adam Lisberg and Brendan Schulman of DJI and gaining some insights into AirWorks 2019. If you'd like more information on AirWorks, check out the webpage at airworks2019.com. And you can connect with Adam and Brendan on Twitter or LinkedIn. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate or patreon.com/droneradioshow. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Gores.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.